James Kaufman, World News Report today. Suspected X-class solar flare and coronal mass ejection pops off far side of sun during this superior conjunction. Earlier today, a magnificent halo coronal mass ejection rocketed away from the far side of our sun. NOAA's Core 1 chronograph on GOES 19 recorded this more than impressive explosion. The solar flare that caused this extremely large and fast-moving coronal mass ejection is expected to be a sizable X-class solar flare, but we have no confirmation of the strength thus far. We were actually able to catch this on our new Core 1 chronograph. Look at the size of that eruption. What is that leaving the sun there? And I've never figured out what this light is. I want y'all to see this leaving the sun here. There it goes, right there. I don't know what it is, and then that is a freak show. But we were able to catch the huge backside coronal mass ejection. It looks like a very large explosion. According to NASA's model, it was just constructed, the coronal mass ejection will hit Venus and Mars, but not Earth. Look how fast they have this CME moving. That is incredible, folks. We're talking about, well, less than 24 hours, it's past Mars. Definitely one of the fastest CMEs I've ever seen NASA model. Very strong, and I guess we're very lucky that this happened on the far side during the simultaneous superior solar conjunction. So the simultaneous conjunction did in fact activate our sun, but luckily it was on the non-Earth facing side thus far. Of course, this explosion suggests there may be a very active sunspot group on the far side of the sun. Unfortunately, images from NASA's Perseverance rover, which we can see sunspots on the far side with, are temporarily unavailable because Mars is at a superior solar conjunction. The rover's radio signal cannot make it around the sun's atmosphere to Earth. Now, I was able to go to STL and come up with these composites. They're less than 40 hours old. And you can see that there's a lot of sunspot activity on the backside of the sun. And again, these are about 40 hours old, these composites. So these sunspot groups have moved much closer to coming around and being Earth-facing, along with all these dangerous sunspots that we're about to go over here. NASA pretending like we used the Mars rover to examine the backside of the sun is laughable. That's not something that we're used to doing whatsoever. Let me show y'all something. Currently, according to NASA's own information, we have Bepi almost exactly on the far side of the sun, along with Parker SP. Look at this. They couldn't be any further on the backside of the sun, and both have cameras. And we have Juice up here, and we have Psyche here. But more importantly, Bepi and our Parker SP are right here. We should be able to examine any part of the backside of the sun we would like to. Just more crap. Now take a look at this CME they have hitting Earth tomorrow on the 9th. Right there. That was it right there. It almost forms as it hits Earth. And you can see it coming around to hit Earth right there as well on the 9th. Tomorrow, or really later this evening, as the 9th starts at 7 p.m. Central Time on the 8th here in the U.S. Jumping over to HMI Intensigram to take a look at the sunspots that are Earth-facing. Looks like we have at least 4 sunspots ready to go around the far limb here. And really 5, count 4, 3, 3, 7. All 5 of those are simple sunspots. Although directly Earth-facing, we have a beta-gamma sunspot, 4334, and a delta-class sunspot, 4336, and I am more than surprised that neither one of these complex sunspots has flared yet. Jumping over to Soho, 284 angstroms, although technically this was taken on the 8th UTC time. It was taken at 8:06 last night Central Time here in the U.S., so it's a little bit dated. These sunspots have moved further around the limb here, so very little to worry about here. This sunspot is responsible for the two large C flares. One of them looks like it's going to actually hit us with a coronal mass ejection on the 9th, along with the solar winds from this mess, which could be more than a one-day event. And then, of course, we have the Delta-class sunspot here, which I'm guessing is reverse polarity. We will soon take a look. All right, so it looks like part of the sunspot is, well, reverse polarity. It's going to be in the southern hemisphere, and it's going to be positive over negative. We should always see black over white in the southern hemisphere and white over black in the northern hemisphere. I don't know what's going to happen when the sun flips its polarity, but that should be, well, in the near-term future. But this is what makes it a Delta-class sunspot. The reverse polarity and complexity of the sunspot, although this sunspot is the one responsible for the CME that's inbound for either later this evening into tomorrow. So taking a look at NOAA's KP index forecast from January 8th, 9th, and 10th, they've pushed off the G1 geomagnetic storm. It's supposed to be, well, a double or triple whammy, a glancing blow or direct blow from the CMEs created by the stronger C flares, along with the coronal hole high-speed solar wind stream. And this is going to happen, I'll give y'all Central Time. It's going to be tonight from 7 to 10, from 10 to 1, from 1 to 4, and then from 4 to 7. So from 1 to 7, we could be in a G1 geomagnetic storm, which means nobody gets any sleep. And real quickly, just because we're having an event currently, I want to show you the two C flares. A C, it's going to be a 5 plus C flare, kind of a double whammy here. And a C7, let's see if we can get it on top, 7.5 here. These are the two C flares that lifted light coronal mass ejections. NASA has one of them making a direct hit for tomorrow, along with the solar winds, or the coronal hole high-speed stream, CRHSS. And it looks like we're in the middle of an event right here. Now, with that said, we'll take a quick look and see if we can see that event, and well, we'll move on. And I do believe we have identified the two C flares, stronger C flares for the day. You'll see the first one pop off here, and I'll show them. This is GOES Solar Ultraviolet Imager. There's the first one that popped off today, and you'll see the second one just at the end of the feed start to pop off, and that's the one we're experiencing currently. And that's going to be happening at the very end of the feed, right about there. So there you go, folks. We got to see these two C flares pop off today. And I'll show you real quickly, well, how strong they were. Definitely Earth-facing. I'm not quite sure if they lifted off, well, insignificant coronal mass ejections or not. But we'd only be staring down a G1 geomagnetic storm if they have. So this is self-explanatory if you think about it. That C7.42 or 7.5 is the second flare that's inbound for later this evening or tomorrow. Today's biggest flare, the one that's occurring right now, is a C5.64. You won't see it here, although it will be assigned to sunspot 4334, the beta gamma sunspot, and not 4336, the delta class sunspot. Here is the first explosion here, the C4.4, this being the second explosion of the day, the C5.66, both generated by AR4334, directly Earth facing. Unbelievable that AR4336 has been so quiet. We have a 10% chance of having an X-class solar flare, a 45% chance of having an M-class solar flare, and we have not had one. And we're running a C baseline still. With that said, God bless you guys. Please give us a thumbs up. It's really important. Please share if you can. Really important. Please subscribe if you haven't. And always remember, anything's possible in Bizarro World. God bless you all.